So, without further ado, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce This is another in a series of live broadcasts enjoying the creative sounds of music and harmony. Hope you enjoy. So don't touch that dial. Keep it locked. Be tuned in and turned on.
Welcome to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Not just numbers, not just stats. It's about what they mean. And now, your host, the Maestro.
And welcome to this episode of Talk Dirty to Me with your butt. Me. And we've been having fun with this. Looking forward to this next season kicking in. Be great to see where all these recruits are going to go. Like I told you before, I'm wearing out the miles on the SimWorld Hoop private jet. Now, it's not the top level private jet. That's for the Blazer and for Marsh and Big Bob and Elava and all those guys. Siege, they get the nice jet. I get the jet that has a duct tape around the base of the wing and 3 wheels on every standard. I got 2 wheels and a tinker toy or some a skateboard wheel or something. So I don't get the nice jet. I get the other one. You know how they treat your boy. It's all right. I got to work my way up to get to the nice stuff. It's been cool. Going over my notes, looking at a player that I had a chance to check out. One of the last times I took the jet up, I slept the whole ride, so I had a chance to really get my thoughts together. But Armani George was a player that I caught in Manhattan last week. Again, he really stood out to me for a lot of different reasons. I like the way that he makes his shot. 6'5", 218. To me, he plays bigger than that. Old heads know I like a player who plays bigger than where they are because it's easy to play to your size. For some, if you have ups, if you have speed, it's easy to play softer, right? But for the majority of cats who have that sort of mid-height thing at 6'5", kind of a mid player, not a true big, obviously, more of a 4, if anything, if not a 2, probably, but doesn't play like it. Really strong inside. I love the way he rotates on and off the ball. I love his defense in the post, really, really quick hands, and I like how he can make his own shot. Those are pluses. And again, old heads know, I don't talk about the shot as much because, again, in my opinion, a shot can be taught. A shot can be learned. What I'm looking for is what do you do to get yourself into that shot? So here's what I would say what the plus needs for Mr. George, and that would be to see him be more active into the play. When he's in the play, he's all in 100%. Great hands, great movement, great feet, the whole 9. It's just watching him get there. Again, I'll always caveat this, and though I've said it before, I'm going to say it every single time just so it's clear. I understand it could be a chemistry thing. I can understand playing with people you're not used to playing with. I do not know how much he sees or had seen of his teammates before this run in Manhattan. So I'm certainly not going to say, well, this is his game, end stop, period. Old heads know that's not how I work. I'm a fluid, in the moment, observation. I give you why I observed, what I thought about what I observed, but you will always have data or information to work with. That's where it comes from, and this is where this is coming from. The idea of his game, when he's in the play, he's in the play. I just like to see him get into the play stronger. The things that happen before he's in the play. Sometimes it seems like when he would make a flare and we'd make a move, he'd be stagnant for a while. Again, it could be because he doesn't know his teammates. He wasn't sure where the ball was going to go. I like to see him kind of push that a little bit more with his athleticism. I think that would be really good for him pushing his game forward and would make him an instant asset no matter where he goes with that. Again, his rotations, awesome plus. I like the way he played off-ball D in terms of knowing where his man was, body 3/4, seeing where the ball was, always moving, not just always playing face D, waiting for his man to move and then I react. No, he always saw where the ball was, which was apparent with how he was able to get to the rim as effectively as he was able to get to the rim for offense or defensive rebounds. and or the other strong part of his game. Yes, he has a shot, but what was really more important for me watching him play was how he got himself into that position to make that shot. Again, that goes back to his off-ball movement, his brains, his IQ, how he was able to handle his positioning when he would take a pass, even without leverage. He was able to get himself into a position right away. So now he can either make a move or redish it to someone else to get the play moving forward. And that's really good to see in a young player. A lot of times we would think when we get the ball, okay, now it's my time to score. And there's nothing wrong with that thought, except for you want to be balanced. You might get the ball. You might not be in a position where you can leverage yourself to score. See so many players in this particular position. Now, Mr. George is not one of them, but I see so many players when they get the ball, they figure it's my time right now. They start that dribbling thing that we talked about a few episodes ago, bouncing the ball into the ground, Nothing's happening except for the clock going down. Not good for anybody. Whereas Mr. George, he'd get the ball. If he wasn't in leverage to play, he'd try to make his move go. If he was able to make a move, he took an effective and a clean shot, even if it's contested. A contested shot doesn't necessarily mean a bad shot if you know exactly what you're going to do. And Mr. George was able to take advantage of that position more often than not. Or if he did not have anything, once he made his initial move to try to reset himself or get free, then see what was going to happen, and what would he do? Do a quick kick. The one other part of his game that I would say it'd be nice if he can really get this solid, that is, I noticed he tried to post up a couple of times, and I probably will do an episode on proper post up technique, because he was posting up on a guy who I believe he had the height advantage on a couple of times, but he was posting up as if he was the shorter player. Now, that could be a habit thing. I would fall into that habit. Me being 6'6", whenever I post up, I always, in my mind, I was posting up against someone who was taller than me. But when I caught myself in the flow and I realized, oh no, I got 2 inches on this other player, it's a different post up. We'll probably do an episode on that just so we can talk about that technique. Once he's able to tell the difference and able to get the flow, because he had good post up positioning, I'd like to see him be more aware of if he has the height advantage or not. More often than not, he probably will not have the height advantage because he's right in the middle at 6'5". But it'd be good to see him recognize that and be able to use the different techniques. And we'll talk about that at a later episode. Thank you for listening to this half of the Talk Dirty to Me podcast. Catch you on the other side, man.
Thank you for listening to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro.
Want to get involved? Bring it. Drop in discord.gg/SimWorldNBA.
If you have the brain,
Join as a coach.
If you have the game,
Join as a player.
See the game, be the game. But now, back to Talk Dirty to Me with the Maestro.
Once again, for the soul, children, string section, y'all.
Let's get back to some wonderful sounds.
And welcome back to this episode of Talk Dirty to Me. And I said another episode, I guess this is going to do it now. Let's talk about posting up technique. There are plenty of ways to do this. And again, go with your coaches, go with whoever you train with, talk with people who do this on the regular. Again, I'm only providing suggestions, observations. Hopefully it helps you out. If you post up against someone you're taller than, you want to post up as if you're sitting in a high chair. You want to post up with your knees slightly bent, but your back straight, because your back becomes the screener for yourself to get the ball in front of your body. For the most part, there are two zones. Body catch, in other words, front of the body, arms extended, or you can take the ball high. With the ups that a lot of players have today, taking the ball higher, which means your hands are extended above your head, a lot of players, even though they might be shorter than you, they might have the ups to intercept that. That's a little dangerous play. You have to know that you really have them hooked on your hip. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Before you put your hand straight up above your head to acknowledge, to have whoever you're playing a two-man game with, acknowledge, okay, I want the ball high. Remember, when you're setting the post In the post up, again, check out all of our post ups from our shows. See what I did there? When you're setting the post for the post up, what you're doing is you are directing, much like that wide receiver move I tell you when you're running through the paint and you have your hands up toward the rim, or you have your hands up out in front, or you have your hands up low, meaning indicating a bounce pass. Whichever way you do, the person who's passing the ball should read that. If I see my man backed in, he has the height leverage on a player. He's squatting in the high chair, which means back straight, back as a screener, elbow out one of my hands out 3/4. Which hand do I want the ball to? If I have the player on my left hip, obviously I want the ball to come to my right hip, and vice versa. I have my player, let's say for the sake of argument, I have my player hooked on my left hip and I'm taller. So now I squat high chair. I keep my arm out so I'm in contact. I put my hand up at about my 2 o'clock, my teammates 11 o'clock, which means I want the ball high and over here. He gives me the ball there. I can do one of two things. Now, if I have him there and I look down and I see his feet are still there or their feet are still there and I have room to spin, I'm not putting the ball on the floor. I'm going to take it, depending on how deep my post is, by the way. I'm going to take that ball, take that pass. As it touches my hand, my body starts to rotate. My arm stays up, my body starts to rotate, and I'm already what? Making my move to the basket. If there's help side there and I'm deep, their feet will be in the no-fly zone, which means all that area is still mine. It won't be a charge. I'll probably get an and one, and I get a chance to knock somebody down while I do it. Dangerous is the play to the other side. I'm down deep in the post, have the player hooked on my right side. I'm taller. So again, I squat high chair and I have leverage to the inside, but the inside is dangerous. Why? Because that's where other players are. So now what do? I might do front chest, two hands. Keep him there posted inside, front chest, two hands. In other words, give it to me here, away from traffic. Now, what can I do? If the player is still on my right hip, I can either rotate left. Now I'm rotating into the paint. I'm rotating into the inside. So before I do that, I need to look and see where feet are. If there is feet there, there are people there. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? If there are feet there, there are people there. If I rotate into that, I'm rotating into trouble. When I receive the ball, I make that look before I make the move. If I see feet there, that means I have an open teammate, probably weak side, which means opposite side of the ball in this particular case. I then flash up out of my peripheral for that person, skip the pass over. They're probably deep enough for a three. Now I'm already set up for the rebound. I'm already set up to position myself for the rebound because I rotated myself around my defender. Now let's go back. I am a shorter offensive player posting up a big man. Not a smart thing to do. I know I did it a lot, but it still can be effective. In that particular case, what's your leverage? Everything low to the ground. But now I squat shoe shine position. In other words, I'm not squatting high chair. My back is not straight. My back is over as if I'm shining shoes or tying my shoes. I don't want to make anyone offended because everybody's feeling will get hurt if I say the wrong thing. So I squat as if I'm tying my shoes because I want the ball low. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that I've given away my offensive leverage, because if I get the ball low and I'm in the paint, guess what? If my man is directly behind me, in other words, if our feet are square, I can go left or I can go right. If he doesn't realize his height advantage and doesn't quarter post me, in other words, he doesn't get to my side with his arm across my body, let's say he goes to my right hip because he wants to force me into the middle, which is what a good defensive player would do. Let's say he does that. I still call for it low. Why? Because guess what? We now have internal ball movement. I don't think that I can move around and not have myself in position to make an effective offensive move, but at least I give myself a chance. He's on my right hip or she's on my right hip, taller than me. I low squat as if I'm tying my shoes. I flash forward, put my hand out, probably, I guess, to let's just say 8 o'clock, right above my knee. Ball comes there. Now what do I look for? Say it with me. I look for feet. Feet means bodies. I can now either turn and go under the rim, opposite side, or if I feel strong enough, listen to me. If I feel strong enough, I can then now do the most important thing I can do to help my team. Go toward the rim, even without a bounce. Ball firmly in hand. No George Gervin finger roll. Ball firmly in hands as I go toward the rim to dunk it. Choose violence. If my opponent tries to block me, you think I'm going to get that foul? You know I'm going to get that foul. And if he does not, I just dunked on the big man. Love it all day. Good stuff. Hopefully that helps you a little bit in the post positioning. If you're taller, if you're shorter, if you want me to expand on that, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what else you want to hear about. Hopefully it's helpful for you. And again, not to be rude, but quite frankly, if Liam Neeson asked to be the god baby of your kids, or Mel Gibson asked to be the god baby of your kids, just don't.
I mean, I didn't realize we were starting right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for checking out the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind.
So, see you next time and talk dirty to me.